And the second part of the lecture, continuing on about the story of St. Francis said yes to following God, to being a disciple. So continuing on this whole understanding of how we are all called to be disciples. In this chapter 2, we've spent a lot of time this week on how do we come to know God. But the reality is, once we come to know God, the desire of God is for us to follow Him, for us to be His disciples. Now, we've talked about the ways to know Him, and when He reveals Himself through special ways of faith, that's called divine revelation. So the birth of His Son was very much divine revelation, and sacred scripture is divine revelation of coming to know God. But when we answer that call to not only believe but to follow and live it out, that's a call of faith. So in this section, we talk about 3 theological virtues: the theological virtue of faith, theological virtue of hope, and the theological virtue of charity, or also known as love. Now, the word theological, as you can see in your textbook, means concerning God. So these all specifically deal with not only knowing, but living out, being disciples of Jesus Christ, of God. So we are called to live a life of faith. If we come to know God, then our response in living as a disciple is to live our faith. And we can do that in many ways. You don't have to be a priest or religious brother or sister to be a faithful person. We are all called to be faith-filled and faithful through our everyday lives. Now, St. Francis of Assisi turned away from his wealthy lifestyle and background to a life of poverty. Not everyone's going to be called to do that as well, but we're all called to say yes. Now, I want you to think about this idea a little bit about saying yes. Think about a time when you said yes to doing something in your life. And once you decided on what that yes response was for whatever it is, or whatever it was, think about how many more yeses you had to do in order to fulfill that first one. So for example, the book gives the example, if you say yes to getting good grades, then you also say yes to studying hard, say yes to getting your homework done on time, you're saying yes to studying for tests. See the multiple yeses. The same thing happens in our life of faith. When we are called by God to know Him, and then we become a disciple, and we live these theological virtues of faith, hope, and love, then the reality is we're going to be saying yes, just as Mary said yes, becoming the mother of Jesus, just as St. Francis of Assisi said yes, and all the saints of the world. So our yeses continue on today. It's not just one yes when we are a disciple of Jesus Christ. Take care, God bless, and I will see you after Labor Day. Remember, your projects are due on Tuesday after Labor Day. Mr. Fieser will collect them in class. God bless. Have a great Labor Day weekend. Look forward to seeing you when I come home next week.